The story opens with a girl thanking a boy for teaching her how to handle tasks as part of the library committee. Standing in front of the bookshelves, he reassures her that she can always ask him if she needs help. After thinking for a moment, she confirms she really can, setting the stage for the rest of the story. In the next scene, a girl approaches Senpai, asking if he has a minute. He looks at her and asks how he can help. She apologizes for bothering him after school and says she has a question. He explains that her name is ᴄᴏᴘᴘыឫ, his junior on the library committee. Since he has no other responsibilities, he tells her he's free to listen. Then she drops a surprising question. What does it mean to be a virgin? He's stunned by the unexpected inquiry and pauses, unsure how to respond. He knows Ray comes from a wealthy and sheltered background, with limited exposure to the outside world, which explains her pure curiosity. She asks if being a virgin is something to worry about, and he remarks that it's a pretty deep question. She jokes that virgins must be profound, but he corrects her, saying it's the opposite. Curious, he asks where she heard the term. She explains that she overheard the boys in her class talking about it. A flashback shows two boys loudly wishing they could stop being virgins, right in the middle of class. Senpai wonders why they'd have such conversations with so many girls around. Ray suddenly stares at him intently. Confused, he asks what's wrong. She bluntly asks if he's a virgin too, and whether he wants to stop being one. Flustered, he quickly pulls her aside, warning her not to say things like that where others can hear. As they pass by, students whisper about her, commenting on her cuteness and the awkward question she just asked. Although Senpai finds the whole situation ridiculous, he feels responsible as her senior to explain things. He takes her into an empty classroom and tries to give a metaphorical explanation. A virgin is someone who never stops dreaming of things that feel out of reach but still believes they'll succeed. She frowns, saying his answer is too complicated. After some hesitation, he finally admits that a virgin is someone who hasn't had any sexual experience. She processes this and refers directly to intercourse. Surprised, he asks if she knows what that means. She admits she's heard the word before and suddenly realizes he's talking about sex. Her pleased reaction puzzles him. When he asks where she learned the term, she says she overheard it from the boys in her class. He begs her to stop saying sex out loud. She then remarks that virgins are just unlucky guys who haven't had sex, which makes him sigh in defeat. She presses on, asking him to define sex. Embarrassed, he firmly tells her that it's not a topic she should be discussing with him. She then wonders if he's refusing to answer because he's a virgin. To his utter shock, she casually suggests they have sex so he won't be a virgin anymore. He immediately refuses, and she asks if it's because she's not good enough for him. Internally, he's panicking, reminding himself that he's just a regular high school boy and shouldn't even think about such things. He tells her not to assume he's a virgin without proof. She asks directly if he's ever had sex, staring at him expectantly. Ignoring her, he calmly explains that sex is something people should only do with someone they love, not just for the experience. She reflects on his words and thoughtfully repeats them, concluding that it's acceptable if done out of love. She confesses that she likes him, shocking him. He replies that those aren't the emotions he's referring to, and asks her how much she likes him. Unable to articulate it, she simply says so. He thinks about how silly his junior is and asks her to come with him. She inquires where they are going. He tells her that she needs to study a few things as he leads her to the infirmary. Thinking some topics are better left to professionals who can explain them more clearly, he realizes she's so innocent that she'll likely ask even more ridiculous questions like the one she asked today. As she exits the infirmary, she's startled to hear his voice asking if she understands now. Embarrassed, she apologizes for her strange questions. He reassures her not to worry, saying it's nothing new. He adds that things never get boring with her around. She walks behind him in the hallway and asks if she can pose another question. He replies with a yes. When she asks if he likes her, he looks at her in confusion, thinking it's not the kind of like he's considering, but he admits that he does, answering so. She acknowledges that she understands. It's the same kind of like as hers. He wonders why she looks so content. He comments that she keeps worrying him, and she asks why. He responds that she's running around asking other people strange questions and getting them the wrong impression. She claims to him that Senpai is the only one she asks these questions. He asks her if it wouldn't be more practical to question her classmates or professors. He wonders why she comes to him when their classes are from different years. Puzzled, She is unsure of the answer herself. She then asks him why she always directs her questions to him instead of turning to someone else. Her curiosity is strong, and she urges him to explain. He thinks that not only is she ignorant of the outside world, but she also doesn't understand herself. He realizes he needs to teach her more in the future. Senpai explains that he first took on work with the school library committee after classes, and then his shift at the family restaurant. He has to juggle multiple part-time jobs because of his family's financial struggles. He asserts that his situation is entirely different from his juniors, who often approach him with a barrage of ridiculous questions, unaware of the world around her. He wonders what else he will have to teach her. The incident that follows takes place in the men's restroom, where Senpai is seen relieving himself. He is startled to find Shiranui standing behind him. When he asks her if she knows where she is, she naively replies that she does, and that they are in the restroom. After he informs her that this restroom is for males only, she asks if bathrooms are divided by gender nowadays. He tells her that this hasn't changed recently, and has been the case since before she was even born. She looks surprised by this sudden realization. He then asks her if she has ever wandered into the men's restroom before, to which she responds that she doesn't know because she doesn't pay attention to that. Her answer takes him aback. He advises her to be careful in the future and not to accidentally use the men's restroom. When she asks why she shouldn't enter the men's restroom, he responds that it's because she is a girl. She asks Senpai why a girl shouldn't use the boys' restroom, and when he tries to explain, she follows up by asking why the two restrooms are even separated. He pauses for a moment, realizing it's an interesting question, one he'd never considered since it seemed like common sense. While he admits she raises a valid point, he still insists that she should avoid the men's restroom. As her senpai, he decides it's his responsibility to teach her properly. He asks her to imagine how she would feel if he walked in on her while she was using the toilet. She calls him a pervert, and he quickly reminds her that it is just a harmless example. He then asks if she now understands how he felt when she suddenly barged into the bathroom. Ashamed of her behavior, she starts to back away from the situation. He responds that disappearing like that isn't helping him, but he's at least glad she learned her lesson. Still, he thinks to himself that it was a necessary sacrifice for her to understand. In the corridor during lunch, he asks her what brought her there. Confused, she asks what he means, prompting him to clarify if she has any questions. This jogs her memory, and she suddenly realizes she has a letter in her pocket. She pulls it out and shows it to him, leaving him astonished. He becomes anxious and asks her what the letter is about. She responds that she found it under her desk that morning and doesn't even know what it is. Anticipating her question, he explains that it's probably a love letter. She looks dumbfounded. He clarifies that if someone is too shy to express their feelings face to face, they write them down and give the letter to the person they love. She understands the reasoning behind it. Looking at him innocently, she then asks if he was the one who wrote the letter. He quickly denies it, which disappoints her. He suggests she should read the letter to find out the sender's name, as it's likely mentioned inside. She admits that she was worried it might be a chain letter, which is why she hadn't opened it yet, and then she asks how she should turn down a confession. He advises her to at least read the letter first and find out the sender's name before deciding what to do. In the letter, the writer confesses that when he first saw her, the colors of the world came to life. He goes on to say that he's never felt this way before and that he likes her now that he loves her. By love, he clarifies that he wants to experience everything lovers do together. The letter also mentions his intention to start dating her, along with a list of other desires. In the end, the sender reveals himself as Kawada Makoto, her classmate. Upon hearing this, Senpai urges her to reject him immediately. Confused, she asks what he means by doing everything, to which he admits that Kawada is implying he wants to have sex with her. Still puzzled, she innocently asks if Kawada wants to date her just so they can have sex. Senpai notices that she seems unusually confused, which isn't like her. When he asks about the sender's identity, she pauses and then asks, "Who is he?" He responds he's your classmate, not one of his, so how would he know? After thinking it over, she realizes that Kawada is the same guy who was crying about losing his virginity. She tells Senpai that she's never really spoken to him before and asks what she should do next. He firmly advises her to reject him. She responds by saying that she should go talk to him immediately. But Senpai quickly stops her, cautioning her against doing that. When she asks why, and if it means she has to consider dating him with sex in mind, he clarifies that it's not exactly like that. He explains that writing a love letter takes a lot of courage, and while the content of Kawada's letter may be questionable, she shouldn't reject him just because he told her to. Instead, she should be honest and express her feelings. He admits that he's only repeating advice he's heard since he doesn't have any personal experience. She thanks him and says she'll be honest with Kawada about how she feels. She then informs Senpai that she plans to reject him, as she physically can't stand him. As he strolls down the hallway, she calls out to him. She says she wants to thank him. When he asks what for, she brings up the earlier incident involving the boy's confession, explaining that thanks to his help, she handled it quite well. She loudly declares how much she can't stand the boy, leaving him stunned and embarrassed. She reassures Senpai that she has managed to address his feelings for her, and he can't help but find it amusing, thinking that Kawada brought this upon himself. She remarks that Senpai seems surprisingly knowledgeable about love letters. He responds that he learned about them from a co-worker who used one to confess, clarifying that he has no personal experience with love letters himself. She then asks if he has ever received a love letter. He admits that he hasn't received one, nor has he ever had any confessions directed at him. Upon hearing this, she feels relieved. He expresses surprise that she has no prior experience with love letters, as he had assumed she must have received a few. Considering how cute she is, she asks if he thinks she's cute, and he admits that he does. He feels nervous about admitting that he finds her adorable, treating her like his little sister. She tells him that her father always thinks she's cute, and he responds that it's great to hear. She continues, explaining that she had no idea about love letters because she always stayed at home and didn't know what was considered common. Thanks to his teaching and assistance, she now understands a little better. Abruptly, she calls out to him and asks why he is willing to teach her these things. He contemplates how to respond to her question, then wonders aloud why he does so. When he asks her why he always answers her questions, she looks confused and replies that she doesn't know and that it's what she wants to find out. He then reminds her that she pulled the same stunt not long ago, leaving her dumbfounded. She pouts and looks at him, and he remarks that it's only fair for her to get a taste of her own medicine now and then. As they walk toward the library, he feels perplexed about why he behaves this way around her, commenting to himself that he doesn't quite understand his feelings. The next day, Shiranui tells Senpai that the boy who gave her the love letter has now confessed to another girl, but he was immediately rejected. Senpai is taken aback by this news. At Shinonome Academy, the library committee members' mornings begin earlier than those of the other students. Senpai looks quite fatigued as he remarks that not many people visit the library at 7 in the morning, leaving him to spend most of his early hours at the reception desk feeling bored. He notices that it's also Shiranui's shift this morning and worries that she might be late. Just then, she approaches him, greets him, and asks if he has a moment to chat. When she leans in close and whispers in his ear, he tells her that his ears are sensitive and asks her not to do that. She questions how his ears can be sensitive, but he brushes it off, saying he's half asleep and she shouldn't worry about him. She reminds him that he's the one who taught her to keep it down in the library, to which he replies that since it's just the two of them there right now, she can speak normally. While stretching, he expresses his gratitude for her, saying that she has completely woken him up. She promises to whisper in his ear to wake him up if he ever starts dozing off, but he requests that she refrain from doing so and forget he said anything. When he asks what's piquing her curiosity today, she holds up the book she's reading. It hits him that this is the book he recommended to her. He asks her how it is. She replies that it's amazing, but mentions that some parts confused her and hopes he can clarify them. He agrees that it does have some complicated words. She then asks him about batting centers, bowling, and karaoke. He's surprised and asks if she's never been to any of those places before. She replies that she hasn't asked if those are places one can go to. He's once again reminded of just how sheltered and privileged she is. He proceeds to explain each activity to her one at a time. For instance, he describes batting centers as places where players try to hit baseballs pitched at them by a machine, bowling as a sport where players roll a heavy round ball to knock down 10 pins, and karaoke as a place where people can sing popular songs. She looks confused and doesn't quite grasp the concepts. He tells her that it can be hard to understand from just a simple explanation. He adds that he has time after school and asks if she wants to go over these places later. She approaches him with a bright smile, asking if that's okay. He replies that it is, noting that he has some rare free time after school today. She's thrilled with the idea, and he tells her to meet him at the school gate after classes. Suddenly, he questions himself, why is he casually inviting his junior out? Even though he initiated the offer, he wonders if it might be better for her to invite her friends along instead. However, she insists that she only wants to go with him. Surprised, he replies, if you say so. At the school gate, as she waits, he arrives and asks if she's been waiting long. She replies that she just got there as well. He then inquires if their hangout will get her into any trouble, and she reassures him that she only needs to be back by 7 p.m. When she asks which place they'll be going to first, he says they'll check out all of them. Soon, they arrive in front of a massive building, her curiosity piqued. In the elevator, she excitedly claims that she can see the entire city from this height. He remarks that someone's having fun. She asks if this building has everything he told her about. He nods and asks, which place does she want to tackle first? At the batting center, he expertly hits the ball, impressing her. Amazed, she compliments him, saying he plays like a professional. He tells her she's giving him too much credit before asking if she wants to give it a try. She eagerly responds, yes. He guides her to pick the shortest bat and to wear a helmet for safety. As he teaches her how to handle the bat, he instructs her to grip the upper part with her right hand and the lower part with her left. For a beginner, he suggests starting with a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. He explains that once she's ready, all she needs to do is feed the machine some cash. He encourages her to focus on hitting the ball and reminds her not to swing the bat too hard. She finally takes her first swing and clumsily misses the ball. She pouts in frustration, but he reassures her, saying that's how it goes for everyone when they start. Stepping forward to help, he corrects her posture. He points out that she's bending forward too much and advises her to keep her back straight. After positioning her hands on the bat, he instructs her to maintain her posture and keep her eyes open, reminding her not to move her head too much. He quickly apologizes, realizing he touched her without thinking. And in a bit of a panic, he begs her not to report him. She reassures him, saying it's fine and that she doesn't mind it at all. Flustered, he tells her to wait for the next ball and stay focused. She successfully hits the ball and, delighted, exclaims that she hit it. He quickly reminds her to keep her eyes ahead as the next ball is already coming. After a few more attempts, she tells him how much fun she had, and he compliments her on doing well for a beginner. She admits that she couldn't hit the effortlessly as he did, and asks if he comes here often. He responds that he sometimes drops by after his shifts, usually when he's had enough of annoying customers and coworkers. He adds that he just imagines the balls as those unpleasant people and smacks them, mentioning that they arrived barely 30 seconds before closing time. She remarks that it sounds rather terrifying. At the bowling alley, he rolls the ball, only for it to land in the gutter, completely missing the pins. When she asks how many points he scored, her innocent question hits him in the heart. He tells her it's her turn, but suddenly it gets dark. She asks if the power has been shut off, to which he replies that it's just part of their steamy light strike game rounds. As the spotlight shines on the balls, he tells her that whoever scores a strike gets to take a commemoratory photo. She becomes furious, exclaiming how dare they give her a scare, and decides she's going to hit all the balls. He wonders if she has past trauma related to blackouts or something. He advises her not to use too much strength when throwing the ball and to aim between the third and fourth lanes. He thinks that since this is her first time, even hitting a single pin would be a great accomplishment. She throws the ball, and he notices her anger, equating it to wrath from the 7 deadly sins. She knocks down every pin, prompting him to call it a strike of anger. Surprised, she asks if he saw her hit all the pins. He compliments her, teasingly asking if she's a professional. She says that's an exaggeration. A girl with a camera approaches to congratulate her, asking if she'd like to take a picture with her boyfriend. He quickly clarifies that he isn't her boyfriend. ᴄᴏᴘύʀɪლიẾ then asks him to join her for a photo, but he refuses, stating he always feels embarrassed about taking pictures. Despite his protest, she insists. He tells her she's too close for comfort and reluctantly agrees to take the photo. The girl watching then smiles and comments on what a cute couple they make. She then captures a wonderful picture of them. He informs her that they'll receive the pictures later and suggests they continue playing. He can't believe that a rookie like her has outperformed him, thinking she's not half bad, but she better not underestimate him. As her senior, he feels he has to uphold his honor and teach her the meaning of defeat. Despite his efforts, he loses with a score of 55 to 58. Afterward, they head to the karaoke box, and she asks him about the circular camera. He explains that it's available for anyone who wants to stream themselves while performing a song. He explains that once she selects a song on the device, it will start playing when it's her turn. When she asks how to do it, he offers to show her. As he's explaining, she moves closer to him, and though it's nothing new, he can't help but think about how she always sticks so close. He asks if she wants to try selecting a song, and she eagerly agrees. He wonders if she listens to music often. Suddenly, he notices she's added 5 songs at once and calls it foul play. As she begins to sing, he finds her voice cute and notices how she's completely absorbed in the moment. He compliments her, telling her she is great, and she thanks him with a smile. While hanging out at karaoke, he casually mentions an unwritten rule. You're only supposed to add 1 song at a time when singing with a group. She apologizes, admitting she didn't know. He reassures her it's no big deal, just something to remember for next time. He even encourages her to keep singing, saying he loves her voice and would be happy to hear more. Since they came for her to enjoy herself, he insists he's fine just listening. She suggests they sing together instead, so they both have fun and asks which songs they should pick. As they step outside, she notices it's getting dark. He asks if she'll make it home in time for curfew, and she confidently says yes. That's when he spots a photo in her hand. It's from their bowling outing. Teasing him, she points out how he struck a goofy pose, even though he said it was embarrassing. He laughs, admitting he got carried away, and asks her not to show it to anyone. Blushing, she promises to keep it as a personal treasure. He notes how happy she looks and asks if she had fun. She excitedly declares it was the best time of her life. Surprised, he thinks she's exaggerating, but she insists she's not. She explains how life had always felt painfully slow, like time dragged on forever. But today was different. Time flew by, making her realize how fleeting life can be. She credits him for teaching her that valuable lesson. Then she drops a surprising request. She wants him to take responsibility. Confused, he asks what she means. Smiling, she asks him to keep hanging out with her like they did today. After a brief pause, he promises he will, as long as he can find time. At the bus stop, she waves goodbye as she boards. He stands there, momentarily dazed, before waving back. Checking his schedule, he realizes he won't have another day off for an entire month. After that, ᴄᴏᴘύϊ starts visiting the batting center by herself occasionally. During one of their karaoke sessions, he notices she keeps picking anicaps songs. Curious, he asks if she's a fan. She shakes her head, saying it's actually her dad who listens to them all the time, which surprises him.